so for this, we're just looking at this problem to have an example where we can work on having this exponent, okay? So let's say if we ended up with the exponent of 2/3, okay? So when I look at this, it is a little bit tricky. It looks a little tricky here, but I go ahead and for an iPhone, which is what we're gonna look at right now, we're gonna always, okay, so really think about it. First off, I have to have an idea of what I have to do first. So PEMDAS tells me first, look in the parentheses, that's already simplified, nothing to do. Look at the exponent, okay, we gotta apply that exponent to the base. The base is what the exponent is applied to. 4 raised to the 2/3. 4 is our base, okay? So we're gonna do this right here in the calculator. We're gonna get an answer, and maybe it'll help folks to get that answer, put it here, and then think about the next step, multiplying by 2. Because if you have that intermediate step, then you have a moment to see what you had gotten for that exponent aspect here. You could see if you got it, and then you'd know if you got it wrong, if somebody else said, no, I got something else here. If you do this and multiply by 2, it's going to be harder to go back and see what you got for that. Okay, so let's do it. We always put in the base first. So put in the base, 4. Okay. Well, I have to clear out. Let me get it cleared. 4. And then we're going to raise it to the power. So we're power of 2/3 isn't going to just allow us to put into the third power, second power. We have to do this x to the y. So we push x to the y. Now I am inputting. Once I push that button, from there on out, I am inputting what my exponent is. So we are looking at the exponent, and I'm going to put in this parenthesis, left parenthesis. I'm going to put in 2 divided by 3. That's my exponent. Remember, division is just a fraction. It's an aspect of a fraction. Close parenthesis, the right parenthesis. Now 2/3, that's what that is, 0.66 repeating. 2/3 is that number. So what the calculator is keeping in mind is we did 4, we did raise to the 2/3. Right now it's showing 2/3, and if we push enter or equation or equal, then it applies that exponent to the 4. Watch. 2.51. So that I would suggest that you go ahead and just make this intermediate step so that you have a place to look if you did make a mistake. So for instance, the test is going to be multiple choice. So if you got an answer that wasn't an option, you can go back and say, well, let me check that part right there. So I want you to do this, or anybody watching the video, I want you to do that second step showing what that exponent is. And then we have this number here already in the calculator. So we just have to push times 2. And there we got our answer. I'd probably say that. Keep it to the hundredth digit is fine. So if I was doing for an iPhone, you could, let's see. For an iPhone, this part right here is going to be, you push 4, you push the x to the y, then our left parenthesis, 2 divided by 3, close parenthesis, and then equal. Okay, that's how I'd find out 4 to the 2/3. Does that help to have that kind of like syntax code like that? Do you see how it works though? Because look, this is all the exponent, right? That's all the exponent. And what it's saying is 4 is raised to all that. Once you have it all in and close a parenthesis, it's going to express this as our 6 repeating, right? And then equal applies that to the 4. And that's not your fault to misunderstand that. If I did on this calculator, it'd be slightly different. On this calculator, it'd be slightly different. But the main idea is when you have a fraction, you have to put in parentheses so that it doesn't think you're just doing 4 raised to the second, which would be 16, and then dividing by 3, right? It might confuse that, so you got to put them in parentheses. Does that help? Yeah? All right. I'm going to go ahead and post that one too, just like a quick exponent review. And so you helped out your classmates.